Well, McFarland Chevrolet, Caleb will wheel that Super Stock F Camaro out as the factory GTI Avenger, driven by Mark Nowicki, as they will start us out here. So a couple of our Division III competitors in the Super Stock category will lead us out. And Mark Nowicki will start us out with the first to the finish line. 9:64 at 136 miles an hour, 10:16, 136 for Caleb McFarland. And Mark will put an 85 under the index to lead the parade right now, as Travis Booth with the N Automatic Super Stock 88 Mustang. Travis, a former Division III ET champion, went out to Vegas to run for the national championship. And Victor Cagnazzi, the GM Parts Now Copo Factory Super Stock F for Victor in the right lane. And Victor makes quick work of the quarter mile. 9:31, 140 miles an hour, 12:10, 109 for Travis. And Victor grabs the number one spot, 88 under the index. And Travis in his number 4. Here's Bill Bellinger and Nick Morris. Nick Morris out of Louisville, Kentucky. The factory GTH Mustang. Formula 96 Firebird, Bill Bellinger out of Taylorsville, Kentucky. Wheels up launch, Super Stock style. Nick Morris out front will stay there to the end. Here comes a 960, 139 mile an hour pass for Nick Morris. Bill Bellinger, 981 at 132. And Bill jumps into the number 2 spot, 88 under the index. And Nick Morris, 74 under the index, as our pages is slowly getting filled up. Couple of Mustangs. George Wright, already been in a final this weekend in the 96 Mustang Factory GTI. And Rick Rogers, Factory GTC, the white Mustang, hauling the mail down the racetrack. And Rick Rogers, 883 at 153 miles an hour. George Wright, 999 at 134 miles an hour. And we have a new leader. Richard Rogers hanging on top of the hill, 96 under the index. And George Wright nuzzles into the 6th spot, 50 under the index, as Daryl C.R. Avino's Camaro pulls up to the right lane, the G Automatic Factory Super Stock I. Mike Fuller ready to go in the 2013 Mustang. Daryl, our National Open Super Stock runner-up, pulls on through 10:04 at 130 miles an hour. As Mike Fuller's 10:19, 130 puts Fuller in the number 8 spot as Daryl C.R. Avino hops into the number 6 spot, 50 under the index. Ray Poquette loves the clutch as part of his doodads in his race car. Jeff Myers, the factory Super Stock E Copo Camaro, locked and loaded. Jeff is under power, 921, 143 as Ray Poquette gave up on the run early on in that one as he coasts across, 1325, 63 miles an hour, and Myers drops it into the 5th spot, 83 under the index. So Ray still working his way down the shutdown area as he was off the gas very early on in the run as Tim Tichnell and Stephanie Diekma are up next. Stephanie's 70 Blue Nova GTJ Automatic. And the G5 out of Amherst, Ohio for Larry Allen Racing Engines, PK Race and Rods, KB Trailers, Vintage Trailers, Therapy Inc., Parma Laser Wash, Tim Tichnell, the D modified, my favorite sounding Super Stockers, the modified classes. .908 for Tichnell, 148 miles an hour, 1020, 128 for Diekma. And that will put Tim Tichnell into the number 7 slot, 66 under the index, as Stephanie Diekma drops in number 8, 59 under the index. Ryan Haig, the red and white first gen 67 Camaro E automatic to the right. Gibson's K automatic for International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 668, REA wire. Former Marine Corps Corporal Gibson, right lane, ready to go in the 74 Dodge Sport. Ryan Haig putting it down the racetrack. 9:53, 136 for Ryan as Gibson, 11:01 at 118 miles an hour. Ryan Haig drops into the 6th spot with that run, 81 under the index. And Gibson is 13th right now, 23 under the index. Here's Dave Dupps, Fred Bartoli. The I-Automatic Firehawk driven by Fred Bartoli out of Schaumburg, Illinois, right side. Dave Dupps out of Germantown, Ohio, the 2008 Cobalt, the B-Modified, another one of my favorite. I just love the modifieds. I just love the way them high RPM engines sound. It's music to my ears up here in the tower. Wow, I'll tell you what, Dave carries the wheels out about 100 feet, sets them down. He is on a pass. Dave Dupps, 8:34, 158 miles an hour as Bartoli chases him 10:10 at 108 miles an hour. And Dave Dupps goes number 5, 85 under the index. And Fred Bartoli finds him a spot number 10, 60 under the index. Here's Alex Novak and Mitch Truman. Mitch is 66 Corvette. The H automatic, the GTF automatic, Alex Novak is jumping into the left lane. Oh boy. Mitch Truman will carry the lead down to the Corvette to the quarter mile. 9:71 for Truman at 134 miles an hour, and shortly behind 9:78, 134 for Alex Novak. So Truman jumps into the number 3 spot, 88 under the index, as Alex Novak, is he a top 10er? No, he's not. He's number 15 at 46 under the index. Dwayne Wade, Bill Lent, the Q Automatic Firebird out of Norton Shores, Michigan. And Rochester, Indiana brings us Dwayne Wade's 69 Camaro, the C Automatic. Bob Holwald, his crew chief. Set or 9:23, 141 for Wade as Bill Lent drops a 12:57, 106 mile an hour pass down there. So number 9 qualifier Wade, 81 under the index. And Bill Lent's 19th right now as he is 22 under the index. Here's Randy running the Achieva Factory GTE. You can see Randy for some VP Racing fuel if you need any. Chris Lozen's Achieva, the GTF automatic, hanging them high. 004 for Chris. We got to remember we're using reaction times for the Super Stock shootout later on today. And Randy, 9:49, 139 miles an hour, 9:84, 130 for Chris. And Randy running I believe, is number 16. Yes, he is. 50 under the index as Chris Lozen is in the 18th slot down there. 40 under the index. Larry Hodge for Hodge Racing Tire, former U.S. National winner. That red Cavalier left side. Jay Montrose, the 68 Barracuda, the original Mancini Racing team. So the GTD Automatic 68 Barracuda, Jay Montrose at the wheel. Larry Hodge will set out front the whole quarter mile. Larry, 998, 118 miles an hour, 989 for Jay Montrose, Barracuda at 134 miles an hour. So Larry Hodge finds himself in the 12th spot, 66 under the index. And Montrose is not on the front page. All right, listen up. Super Gas. Super Gas. First call to 5 and 6, please. Super Gas. First call to 5 and 6, please. All right, Jimmy Ronzella, he won our shootout, the varsity Ford, as Avery Duncan, GTD Automatic in the right lane. Factory GTD, Jimmy Ronzella for varsity Ford. Perfect light for Avery Duncan. That's looking pretty good for the shootout. We're doing reaction times for that. 995, 112 for Duncan. Jimmy Ronzello, 932 at 142 miles an hour. And let's see what we got for those two. Jimmy Ronzello gets the number 15 spot, 57 under the index. And Avery Duncan looking pretty good for that shootout later on. They're based off of reaction time. Just dropped a trip zip on the reaction time for Duncan. All right, here we go. Brenda Grubbs and Donna Morris. Two successful women in Super Stock racing. Donna's K-Automatic Nova right lane. Brenda Grubbs with the 69 red Camaro with a black vinyl top for the National Parts Depot. 5 national event winner, Brenda Grubbs. Donna Morris for varsity Ford, or not varsity Ford, but the K-Automatic Nova. Hustling down the right side. Brenda already there, 938 at 141 miles an hour as Bill looks on. And 1082, 119 for Donna Morris. So Grubbs and Morris looking in. Brenda drops it into the 16th spot, 51 under the index. And Don O'Malley up next with the H-Automatic Corvette out of Decatur, Illinois, home to Archer Daniel Midland, the big grain processing company there in Decatur. And Gerald Casson from the state of Michigan. The powder blue 68 Dodge Dart. Gerald is well out front and will stay there. 882 at 149 miles an hour. 1014, 129 for Don O'Malley. So Gerald did make our front page, number 13th, 62 under the index. We have put a call out, Super Gas to 5 and 6, please. Fred Allen, he's always good for a top 5 spot. He's in the left lane. And Todd France, a tough racer with a GTC Automatic, the G5, the S10 for Fred Allen. Todd France, top 10 Super Stock Division 3 so far. Let's see if he swings for the fence down there. 927 for France, 124 miles an hour. 904, 146 for Fred Allen. And Fred Allen's in the 6th spot. We're used to seeing him hang around the top, 85 under the index. And Todd France, another one that can put a package together. He's number 15, 62 under the index. Major Magic's hot rod driven by Bobby Ratchet out of Gross, Michigan. And Richard Stangetti out of Cincinnati, Ohio. How'd he get here? I always have trouble getting through Cincinnati on my way up north. It's like going through Atlanta, Georgia. That's just the way it is. The GTM automatic blue Corvette, Richard's got it stopped practically. Bobby Ratchet, 989, 134, and Richard's fun ride did not last very long as that hood dropped just about as fast as the front wheels came up. He's going to park down there and check the paint job out on the center line down there. So anyway, we will have to, oh, he got it fired back up. So Richard firing up that Corvette again. Well, Richard did a good wheels up launch, and then the car's like, no. And the hood dropped pretty quick, but he's got it fired back up, and he's working his way down the shutdown area. Richard Rogers so far sits number 1, 96 under the index. Victor Cagnazzi tucked into the number 2 spot, 88 under the index. And then Mitch Truman, 88 under the index. Bill Bellinger is number 4, 88 under the index. Is 3 of them knotted right there. Mark Nowicki's number 5, 85 under the index. That's our top 5. Super Gas, if you are not there, we'd love to have you. 5 and 6, Super Gas. We're just about to run out of Super Stock cars. So Super Gas, please and thank you. Come on up to 5 and 6. Terry Nolan, Jeremy Duncan, 2 of the heavy hitters in the Super Stock Wars are up next. Mr. Pest Control, Jeremy Duncan, the Bug Squasher, and Terry Nolan with that powder blue, gorgeous 1966 version of the G Automatic. Won the Beach Bend Sports National Open last year, Terry did. A good day for them. And Jeremy Duncan, 69 Camaro, the D Automatic. Super Stock champion at the Jegs All-Star Race down in Dallas, Texas at the Motorplex. 2-time Division III Super Stock champion, Jeremy Duncan, Mr. Pest Control. There he goes. Yep. Last year All-Star winner. Duncan, 940 at 140 miles an hour, 995, 130 for Terry Nolan. And Jeremy Duncan makes the front page, number 11, 79 under the index. And Terry Nolan is number 18, so they both get into the front page, 59 under the index. Here's the bright fire engine red Calais of Zach Running, the factory GTF. He looks to the right. Joe Bellinger's 64 Chevy 2, the car with a clutch. Super Stock K, Joe Bellinger ready to go. So Joe Bellinger working through the gearbox as Zach Running is just running away from him down here on the left side. 967, 136 for Zach as Bellinger catches up, 1053 at 124 miles an hour. And now Randy Shipp, the GTH Automatic 64 Corvette, and Matt Hewitt out of Milan, Michigan, the 92 Achieva, the GTE Automatic for unlimited transmission, Parson and Myers race engines. As we are just about out of Super Stock. Super Gas, we need you. 5 and 6, please. And Matt Hewitt grabs the finish line, 971, 136, 1047, 124 for Randy Shipp. And they have dropped off of the front page as Mark Sanders and Ernie Neal. Now, Ernie Neal is one that likes to hang out at the top. He's in the right lane. The Cavalier GTK out of Columbus, Indiana. Ernie Neal, Mark Sanders, 2008 Cobalt, the GTF Automatic for PK Race Cars. Diane is the owner and his lovely wife of the race car. $974, $137 for Ernie Neal, and guess what? We have a new leader. I told you Ernie likes to hang out at the top, as Mark Sanders $975 at 132 miles an hour. So Ernie Neal says, make room for me. I'm sitting at the top of the heap looking out over the countryside. Larry Hodges third, Ryan Haig is fourth, Terry Nolan is fifth in the Super Stock Jegs All-Star points. So a pretty tight race there. And Charlie Downing's 1013, 131 mile an hour pass. Marion 952 at 137 miles an hour. So Marion muscles his way into the sixth spot now, 87 under the index. And Charlie Downing is basically on the second or third page. Here is Logan Bellinger and Andy Cronenbitter. Cronenbitter had a pretty good jaunt down the racetrack as he put it in the winner's circle in Super Stock during our National Open over Daryl Ciaravino. So Cronenbitter pulls into the right lane. PK race cars, Andy Cronenbitter off to the races as Logan Bellinger's Firebird will follow across second. Cronenbitter 971, 1012 for Logan Bellinger. And let's see if we can settle them in somewhere. They're off, Cronenbitter's off my first page. And Logan is 15. Super Stock final qualifying session here today. Randy Ship's 1964 Corvette, the GTH automatic, and the Super Stock F stick car, Caleb McFarland for McFarland Chevrolet. trip zip light for Randy Ship, so that's looking pretty good for that shootout for Super Stock. Randy Ship has definitely, I think, put his 1385 at 73 miles an hour. Well, the bad news is a slow run. The good news is he was trip zip, so he could be in that shootout. Caleb McFarland, 1019 at 136 miles an hour. As I'm looking for, there's our qualifying list. Ernie Neal sits atop of the heap, the only car that's 1.00 under the index. And Richard Rogers, second. Cagnazzi, third. Truman, fourth. Bellinger, fifth. Matt Hewitt, Tim Tichnell stepping up. My CD modified G5 for Larry Allen Race Engines. PK Race and Rods, Matt Hewitt for Unlimited Transmission, Parson and Myers Race Engines. Matt Hewitt travels down, 986 at 118, 908, 148 for Tim Tichnell. And I can kind of see if there's any movement. 16th is where Tim Tichnell settles in with the 66 under the index run. Mark Nowicki, Daryl C.R. Avino. Daryl's been in a final earlier this weekend. Settled into the runner-up spot, the G Automatic 67 red Camaro. Mark Nowicki, 98 Avenger, factory GTI for Nowicki. He's number 7, 964 his first run, 967. He'll stay in that position at 137 miles an hour, 1008, 129 for Daryl C.R. Avino. Larry Hodge for Hodge Racing Tire out of LaPlace, Illinois. The 2002 Cavalier GTI Automatic. Larry will face Travis Booth out of Trafalgar, Indiana. Travis Booth in the 88 Mustang, the N Automatic. So Travis, a former Division III stock champion 2 years ago, he runs 1213, 109 miles an hour, 1001 for Larry Hodge at 118 miles an hour. So Larry hangs on to the 17th spot right there at 66 under the index. Here's Nick Morris out of Louisville, Kentucky, and Chris Lozen from Ontario, Canada. The GTF Automatic Achieva rocks into the right side. Nick Morris is 14th right now. 960 was his first run. They rock him back on the wheelie bars. They'll settle in for the long haul. Nick Morris, 974. His 960 will be keeping him in the number 14 spot. And Chris, a 985 at 133 miles an hour. Alex Novak, GTF Automatic, the 94 Dark Cavalier. Don't know if that's a dark blue or a black, but I'm too far up here to tell. That is a navy blue. That'll be the winning color from up here as Jeff Myers out of Decatur, Indiana, the Copo Factory Super Stock E for Jeff Myers. He's number 10. 921 his first run for Myers. Myers hauling the mail down here. 921 drops it right on the same number as Alex Novak. 978, 134 for Novak. And that'll keep him outside of my top 20 list. And here's Andy Cronenbitter, the winner of our National Open, the 2008 Cobalt for PK Race Cars, the GTF Automatic. Mike Fuller's Factory Super Stock I, the blue and silver Mustang out of Belleville, Michigan for Mike Fuller. $10.24, 130 for Fuller. Cronenbitter runs a 976 at 134 miles an hour. And the Cobra Jet with Rich Rogers at the wheel. Number 2 qualifier, 96 under the index, ran an 883, 153 mile an hour pass first session. And Dave Dupps out of Germantown, Ohio, in the Cobalt, the B modified, a red and white Cobalt for Dave Dupps. Dupps sits number 9, his best run 834 earlier today in the B modified. I'll tell you what, that was as pretty as a wheel stand as you'll see. Dave Dupps carries it out like a surfer riding the wave in. 836 for Dave Dupps. Rogers 907, 125. Rogers will stay number 2, 883 his best effort. Dave Dupps will stay number 9 in the B modified. 85 under the index. Jeremy Duncan, Mr. Pest Control, the D automatic. Last year won the JEGS All-Star Super Stock race down here in Dallas, Texas at the Motorplex. And Randy Runnings, Achieva. Factory GTE. If you need some VP racing fuel, Randy says, I got it in the trailer. There you go. Saving the front tire tread on these hot rods. 940 for Duncan, 140 miles an hour, 948 for Randy Running. And Jeremy Duncan's 13th, 79 under the index, as Running is outside my top 20 sheet. Fred Bartoli in the Firehawk. And the Calais of Zach Running, Factory GTF, the I-automatic for Fred Bartoli, pulls in. Got the blue wheelie bar wheels on his race car. Kind of matches the striping around our starting line area. Boy, he needed the wheelie bars. They both did. Randy Running will grab the finish line on the right side first. 964, 137, 995, 132 for Bartoli. Fred is 15th. 74 under the index. Zach Running outside 20th. Victor Cagnazzi sneaks into the 3rd spot, 88 under the index. The Copo Factory Super Stock F for GM Parts now. And George Wright. Super Gas, 5 and 6, please. Super Gas to 5 and 6, first call. Cagnazzi ran a 931 first run and a 934. He drops off 300s. He'll stay 3rd. George Wright, 1005 at 133 miles an hour. And George with 2 time slips to utilize back there in his pit area camp. And now Bobby Rashid and Bill Bellinger. Bellinger's at number 5 right now, ran a 981, puts him 88 under the index. Bobby Rashid is off to the races. GTG Automatic Firebird. 985 for Bellinger. We'll hold him in the number 5 spot. 981 earlier was his better effort. Super Gas, second call to 5 and 6, please. Super Gas, second call to 5 and 6. And Brenda Grubbs for National Parts Depot. Former JEGS All-Star winner and stock eliminator. Stephanie Diekma, the GTJ Automatic Nova, ready to roll. That is a beautiful looking Nova. Looks like they drove that off the showroom floor. Nice, nice, nice. And Brenda, 937, 140 miles an hour, 1019, 127 for Stephanie Diekma. As we cycle through, and they'll be on the outside of our top 20. Avery Duncan, another good-looking SS Nova, and Dwayne Wade in his C Automatic Camaro. Bob Holwald, his crew chief. The D Automatic GT, Avery Duncan's Nova. Another sharp looking hot rod. Got the wheelie bars just tucked underneath them chrome bumpers. Drug those wheelie bars for about 50 feet. Avery Duncan off to the races. 991, 117 for Duncan, and Wade coasts on down, 1573 at 54 miles an hour. So Duncan not in our top 20. Jeremy is in the 13th slot. Here is James Gibson and Jimmy Ronzello for Varsity Ford, the yellow Mustang out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, American Racing Headers. Doing just a little bit of mopping action in front of Jimmy Ronzello. Jimmy won our shootout, racing his good buddy George Wright in the final. The loser of that pair had to buy a supper at the Roadhouse. So Ronzello taking that win a couple of days ago. Factory GTD Mustang and 1974 Dodge Sport for James Gibson. For REA Wire. Super gas to 5 and 6 is Ronzello, 938 at 146 miles an hour, 1103, 118 for Gibson. So neither one of them crack into the top 20. There's not much movement there in the top 20 this session as Charlie Downing's Varsity Ford Factory Super Stock J hot rod steps in with the GTF Automatic, the Cobalt out of Harrison, Ohio, Mark Sanders at the wheel. Mark Sanders for PK Race Cars on the move down there. 968, 132 for Sanders. Charlie Downing, 1062 at 123. So nobody joining the top 20 in that pair is Joe Bellinger and Fred Allen. Now Fred Allen is number 8. Let's see if he can move up with the Super Stock Truck B. And Joe Bellinger in the Chevy 2. The Super Stock K with a clutch. Fred Allen goes quicker, 897 this time, so he will move all the way up into the number 3 spot. There's a pretty good move there from 6th to 3rd. He's now 92 under the index. And Joe Bellinger, 1048, 124 miles an hour for Joe. So Logan and William are in the top 20, and Joe could not crack the top 20. Here's Ryan Haig. So Joe Bellinger out of Brandon, or Ryan Haig, 67 Camaro E automatic. Oh, and spun the tires. Ryan Haig did not spin the tires. He is rolling on down, 956 at 135 miles an hour. Hey, Ryan made a move into number 11th with that run, 81 under the index. So we'll bring up Bill Lentz, Firebird, the Q Automatic White Firebird, and out of Decatur, Illinois, Don O'Malley, 64 Corvette, the H Automatic So Don O'Malley's got a few Wallies at home in his racing office. National events, divisional wins in that Corvette. Don O'Malley parks at 984 at 130 miles an hour as Bill Lent joins the finish line, 1264 at 101 miles an hour. So Don O'Malley hops into the top 20. Now he's 14th, 75 under the index. So there's a few of them crowding up into the top 20 as Richard Stangetti's 61 Corvette. Man, that is a pretty race car. Richard Stangetti out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and Brad Zaskowski, GTE clutch car. There we go. Grabs second gear with the wheels in the air, and my. Well, Brad Zaskowski, 003, that may be good enough to get him on the shootout list. 938, 131, and Marion Stevenson and Ray Poquette will step up. So Brad Zaskowski, let's see, did he join our top 20? He didn't. Here's Marion Stevenson and Ray Poquette. That is a Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt with a 4-speed. Super Stock A for Ray Poquette in the right lane, and Marion Stevenson, the GTG automatic Cobalt out of Williamsport, Indiana. Stevenson's number 7, his best run, 952. And he parks right on the starting line, so we're only sending one down the right lane, Ray Poquette. And he must have left before the tree was activated. No number. France with the Indiana Johns race car finished number 4 in the world last year out of Memphis, Indiana. The G5 GTC automatic. Gerald Casson with that slick-looking 68 Dodge Dart. Super Stock A with a Hemi. You don't believe it, he's got it on the hood, Scoop. Yes, it's a Hemi. So Todd France is leading the JEGS All-Star points sheet by 1 point over Tyler Kahele. And it is tight. Larry Hodge is 3rd, Ryan Haig is 4th, Terry Nolan's 5th for the JEGS All-Star Super Stock points. Gerald grabs the early lead. He'll take it to across the finish line. 878, 150 miles an hour for Gerald Cass and Todd France, 923 at 126 miles an hour. Todd France is 18th right now, 66 under the index. Here's Logan Bellinger. So Logan is 17th right now, 1021 being his first run, 68 under the index is where he sits right now. Logan Bellinger will finish us off here. So 1021 first time for Logan. Let's see where he shuffles into. 1023, and he will stay in the number 17 spot. So Ernie Neal sits atop of the heap, 1.00 under the index. Number 2, as Caleb McFarland. He's going to flag down the starting line here for McFarland Chevrolet. And Travis Booth in the 88 Mustang, the N automatic Mustang. Super Stock F, Caleb McFarland ready to go. My new list will come up here probably as soon as these, well, we'll get our new list, our top 20 list anyway. We had a lot of movement in Stock Eliminator. We'll get our first pair down track and then we'll catch up with that. Travis Booth, here it comes. 12:08, 109 miles an hour, 981 for Caleb McFarland at 138 miles an hour. Ernie Neal sits atop of the heap, 1.00 under the index. So the GM Parts Now Stock and Super Stock #1 qualifier. We'll see who grabs that money at the end of this session. James Gibson, International Brotherhood Electrical Workers Local 668, sponsored K Automatic, the left side. REA Wire, former Marine Corps Corporal, and Richard Rogers, factory GTC Mustang, the white Mustang ready to go. Richard is number 2. Can he take over number 1? Got to run better than an 883. 898, 131. Rogers will stay number 2. Gibson drops 1093, 119 down on the 74 Sport. So 001, 008, they are in race mode. Here's Avery Duncan's GTD Automatic, the 69 Blue Nova with a black vinyl top, and Mark Nowicki's factory GTI Avenger. Nowicki right now is number 8. 964 his best run, puts him 85 under the index. Avery Duncan outside the top 20. So Mark Nowicki, 961, picks up 300s, 137 miles an hour, 983, 120 for Avery Duncan. So Nowicki goes from 8th all the way up to number 4. He is now 88 under the index, tucked behind Fred Allen. Here's Alex Novak, GTF Automatic, as he'll ease it up into the lane we refer to as the Gun Lake Casino and Resort side. Bill Bellinger's Formula I Automatic 96 Formula parks in the left side. Bill is currently 7th, 981 his best run. And Bill Bellinger, 971. He hops all the way up to from 8th to 2nd, tucked in behind Ernie Neal as he splits Richard Rogers and Ernie Neal. Bill Bellinger's 98 under the index, goes from 8th to 2nd. And Alex Novak's 975, 135. See if that parks him anywhere in the top 20. I don't believe it does. Nope. Here's George Wright, was in a final already in the shootout with Jimmy Ronzello, runner-up in the shootout. George, the Mustang, factory GTI, and Nick Morris out of Louisville, Kentucky, factory GTH. Nick Morris, can he improve? Let's see. Nick Morris, 967, 124 miles an hour. And Nick Morris will stay 15th. And George Wright, 996, 134 miles an hour. And George will be on the outside of the top 20. Here is Kyle Geltima out of Jenison, Michigan, the 88 Thunderbird, the second Thunderbird on the property. Here's Chris Lozen out of Ontario, his GTF Automatic. And Chris, 981, 133 miles an hour, 978, 136 for Kyle. And we'll keep them outside the top 20. Here's Brenda Grubbs. That's Bill Grubbs standing behind that race car with his traditional black cowboy hat. Ray Paquette, Super Stock A. Ray's got a extra pedal on the floor to keep his excitement level up out of Holt, Michigan in the right lane. Brenda Grebs is B automatic for National Parts Depot. Been in 13 national event finals, 5 wins, 8 runner-ups for Brenda. Ray Paquette easing it on up there. See if they can find their way in the top 20. I think Ray was shifting second gear with the wheels in the air. He is well out front. Ray Paquette, 887, 121, 932 for Brenda at 141 miles an hour. Paquette drops himself in the 14th spot, 77 under the index. And Brenda Grubbs kind of trucking on down the top 20 list here. Will be on the outside of that. Mike Fuller, Randy Running. Randy Running's factory GTE Achieva out of Lapeer, Michigan. And Mike Fuller's 2013 factory Super Stock I Mustang ready to roll. See if these two can work their way into the top 20. Randy Running will drop a number down here. 943 for Randy, 138 miles an hour, 1014, 130 for Mike Fuller. Hey, listen up. The last man standing, our classes, they need to sign up before the first round. We need Larry Ripchinsky to come to the Division III trailer. So if you want to run the last man standing, you need to get signed up at the Division III trailer before round 1, please. Here's Ryan Haig having a pretty good year. Daryl C.R. Avino ready to go over there with the G Automatic first gen Camaro. A couple of first gens going at it. Ryan drops the E Automatic over here on the left side. Ryan is number 11, best run 953. How about a 948? That'll put Ryan up into the number 9 spot now, 86 under the index. And Daryl C.R. Avino hauls it on down the right lane, 1069 at 101 miles an hour. So he'll stay on the outside of the 20 list. Here's Larry Hodge for Larry Hodge Racing Tire, and Terry Nolan in his G Automatic 66 hot rod. Larry's Cavalier ready to go. Won the U.S. Nationals back in 2024, Larry did. Let's see if one of these two can make their way into the top 20. How about a 10:05 for Larry Hodge, 106 miles an hour, 989 for Terry Nolan at 130 miles an hour. Nope. Not going to make it. To make the top 20, you got to be 66 under the index. Here's Dave Dupps, Fred Allen. Fred is in the 4th spot. He's another one that's capable of jumping up and taking Ernie Neal's spot up there, number 1. Fred Allen currently 4th, 92 under the index, right side with the Super Stock Truck B. My B modified, Dave Dupps, will work his way down the left side. And Dupps is number 10, best run, 834. Wow, these two could make some movement here. Dupps picks up 400s, 830 at 160 miles an hour, 894, 147 for Fred Allen. Allen stays 4th. Dupps sneaks right behind him. Dave Dupps makes a move into the number 5 spot, and that'll put Dave in at 89 under the index. Fred Allen will stay number 4. All right, Matt Hewitt, Wayne Wade. The 69 Camaro C Automatic. Dwayne Wade pulls into the Gun Lake Casino and Resort side. Matt Hewitt drops into the left lane. 92 Achieva, the GTE Automatic for unlimited transmission. Parson and Meyer race engines. Wade is number 12, 9:23, his best run. 9:16. Dwayne Wade will sneak all the way up into the 8th spot now, 88 under the index. Matt Hewitt, 9:66 at 136 miles an hour. And Hewitt will not be able to crowd himself into the top 20. Here is Russ Abrams and Tim Lowe in the Copo. Factory Super Stock H. Tim will drive down the right lane as the GTD automatic formula out of Connie Coletta's hometown, Ypsilanti, Michigan, Russ Abrams. Lowe and Abrams. Abrams, 991, 134 miles an hour, and Tim Lowe quickly drops back out of power, 1165, 82 miles an hour. Mark Sanders in that 2008 Cobalt for PK Race Cars. Two-time Top Sportsman Division champion for PK Race Cars. Diane, his wife. Evan Sanders, the crew chief. And Zach running with his factory GTF. All right, Super Gas to 5 and 6, please. Super Gas to 5 and 6 for your final time run. Mark Sanders winding that Cobalt up. 966, 132 for Sanders. Zach running 959, right at 138 miles an hour. So Mark Sanders, we'll look for him in our top 20. I do not see it there. Here comes Charlie Downing, Andy Cronenbitter. Andy's already put that car in the winner's circle earlier this week. The GTF automatic Cobalt for PK Race Cars, Cronenbitter. And Charlie Downing. 970, 134 for Cronenbitter's Cobalt. Charlie Downing's factory Super Stock J hot rod. 1010, 132 miles an hour. So they will stay out of the top 20. Here's Richard Stangetti. Check out this 1961 Corvette. Brought it to us from Cincinnati, Ohio. The GTM automatic and Bobby Ratchet's Firebird GTG automatic rolls up. So I'll tell you what, the clouds cleared out and we've got a beautiful blue sky to stare at. So racing is hot going down the racetrack. Bobby Ratchet, 991, 135 miles an hour. Richard Stangetti, 1133 at 116 miles an hour. All right, Mr. Pest Control, Jeremy Duncan out of Charlestown, Indiana. The JEGS All-Star Super Stock champ down here in Dallas, Texas at the Motorplex last year. And Jay Montrose, his Barracuda. Wow, Mr. Pest Control squashed some bugs when the front wheels came down. Jeremy Duncan on a pretty good trip down the racetrack. 932, 141 for Duncan. Montrose struggling with that hot rod, the D automatic. The original Mancini Racing Team hot rod for Jay Montrose. Coast down, 1498, 75 miles an hour. So Jeremy Duncan puts it in the number 11th spot now, 87 under the index. All right, Joe Bellinger likes to keep busy in the office of that 64 Chevy 2 as he's got that extra pedal in there called a clutch pedal. Here's Don O'Malley, the Alley Cat, the 1964 Corvette from Decatur, Illinois. The H automatic, Don O'Malley, ready to go with his Corvette. Let's see if these two can bust into the top 20. Ernie Neal still sitting out on top, 1.00 under the index. Bill Bellinger second, 98 under the index. Rick Rogers third, 96 under the index. Fred Allen's fourth. Dave Dupps rounds out the top 5. Red lights don't matter. Not yet. Final qualifying session for Super Stock. Don O'Malley, 976, 131, 1047, 124 for Joe Bellinger. Don O'Malley finds the top 20. He's number 12 now with that Corvette, 83 under the index, so he busts into the top 20. And Joe Bellinger on the second or third page. Here's Victor Cagnazzi, the GM Parts Now. That is the company that's sponsoring our number 1 qualifier in stock and Super Stock. Here's Ernie Neal. Ernie is our number 1 qualifier in the right lane. And Victor Cagnazzi is going to run alongside with the Copo, Factory Super Stock F for Victor, GTK for Ernie Neal. Our number 1 qualifier sits over in the right side. Can Victor knock him off the top of the hill? Cagnazzi is 7th before he ran this run. 927 for Victor, 979, 137 for Ernie Neal. Ernie stays number 1. And Victor Cagnazzi moves up into the number 5 spot now, 92 under the index. And now Blaine Zaskowski and Mitch Truman. Mitch, the veteran racer out of Leesburg, Indiana, the Corvette, the H automatic, the maroon Corvette in the right lane. Blaine Zaskowski, the factory GTM 85 Mustang, ready to go. Mitch Truman is number 9, best run, 971. And Mitch Truman picks up 100th, and he goes from 9th to 7th now. Mitch Truman sits in the 7th spot now, 89 under the index. And Zaskowski runs his on down, 1042 at 126 miles an hour. Now we've got Brad Zaskowski and Stephanie Diekema. And Stephanie winning our Super Stock combo race. Stephanie said that was her first win. In the right lane, the DGJ automatic. Stephanie, 10-10 at 128 miles an hour. 949, 107 for Brad Zaskowski. So Stephanie finds a spot, number 18 now. Stephanie picking up her first win yesterday in the shootout. In the combo stock, Super Stock shootout, 69 under the index for Stephanie. And here comes Bill Zaskowski and Jimmy Ronzello. Jimmy was in our Super Stock shootout during the National Open for Varsity Ford and was able to get the win light there. Also for American Racing Headers. And this is Bill Zaskowski's Chevy 2, the GTL Super Stocker. Jimmy Ronzello already been in the winner's circle once this weekend. Let's see if he can get in the top 20 for Varsity Ford. 933, 144 for Jimmy Ronzello. Zaskowski, 1023 at 126 miles an hour. So they will stay outside the top 20. Here is Marion Stevenson and Fred Bartoli. Fred out of Schaumburg, Illinois, and the Firehawk, the I-automatic right side, GTG automatic, Marion Stevenson, ready to go. So Marion is number 10. His best run's been 9:52. And Stevenson picks up 300s. Marion goes from 10th up to 6th place. Marion now is 92, I believe. Yeah, no, Marion's 90 under the index, so he jumps up some spots. And Fred Bartoli, 989 at 133 miles an hour for Fred. Fred now is 15th as he is 80 under the index, so he makes a move up the line. Here's Randy Ships, GTH Automatic, GTC Automatic, Todd France, number 4 in the world last year in his G5 for Indiana Johns, Todd France. Todd France, 909, 147, 1037, 124 for Randy Ship. And as we look down our list here, Todd moves into the 15th spot. He's now in the top 20, 80 under the index for Todd France. And Randy Ship rolls on down the highway, 1037, 124. Logan Bellinger, our last car in Super Stock. One more chance to knock off Ernie Neal for the GM Parts Now #1 qualifier award. So Logan Bellinger, GTK Automatic, the Firebird, built 1988. Logan is 20th on our qualifying sheet. And this will finish us up. Final qualifier for Super Stock, 10:08, 121 miles an hour for Logan Bellinger. And Logan jumps up into the 15th spot, 81 under the index. So congratulations, Ernie Neal, winning the GM Parts Now #1 qualifier for Super Stock. All righty, Super Stock coming at us. Mark Sanders in his Cobalt GTF automatic. 968 for the PK Race Cars team. Tim Lowe out of Macy, Indiana, 979 in the Copo Factory Super Stock H. Round number one, Super Stock coming at us. So they'll have that 5/10 full tree. They can choose their dials down on the board down there. And a red light start for Tim Lowe ends it right there for the Copo in the right lane. Mark Sanders, 004. Let's see if he'll run the 968. 969, 132 miles an hour. That was a good tune-up run for Mark. Had the race won via the red light by Tim Lowe. Check out Richard Stan Geddes. 1961 Corvette out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Puts an 1111 dial on the right side. And Brad Zaskowski's GTE 87 Camaro out of Belding, Michigan, 934 dial. First gear, second gear, third gear. Oh boy, got the wobbles down there in the Corvette. Suspension issues, as everybody in the stands could see that. And we're gonna, looks like we broke a wheel on Richard Stan Geddes. If you're out there in the grandstand, boy, did he have his hands full by the time he got that car stopped. The front wheel's just a wobbling. Former stock eliminator champion is Bill Zaskowski out of Belding, Michigan. GTL, the 1028 dial show us up on the right side. And 989 for the Barracuda of Jay Montrose. GTD automatic. Jay will be rolling in on the tower side. Just a beautiful day for racing as that gentle east breeze keeping our flags unfurled out there. Blue skies, a few white puffy clouds up there, but all in all, a beautiful day here at US 131. Hopefully out there on NHRA.TV and YouTube, you're enjoying the coverage. Make sure if you're on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe if you would, please. And again, thanks to our sponsors, Strange Engineering, Summit Racing Equipment, Quarter Max, and Vision One Hand Cleaner. Here we go. Jay Montrose, 68 Barracuda GTD automatic, 989, locked and loaded. Bill Zaskowski's GTL Chevy 2. And a red light start for Jay Montrose as Bill Zaskowski carries the tires of that 66 out of the starting line area. 10.27.6 off the 1028 and the win light for Zaskowski. 997 off the 989 for Jay Montrose. Here's Joe Bellinger. Mitch Truman, two tough racers. Mitch Truman's H automatic vet, Joe Bellinger. He'll go through the gearbox in that Chevy 2 over here on the left side. The Super Stock K 1049 dial will allow Joe to leave first, and then Truman will take the Corvette for a ride down the right lane. 973 for Mitch. A lot of chrome on these two hot rods, and a red light hangs on Joe Bellinger's side by 15 thou since Mitch Truman's Corvette into round number 2 of Super Stock. And Truman just takes a Sunday drive on Saturday down the racetrack, 11:44, easing it across for the win. Here's Nick Morris, the 2003 Mustang Factory GTH out of Louisville, Kentucky. 960 will chase Mike Fuller's 2013 Mustang out of Belleville, Michigan. 1018 for Mike Fuller's Mustang. He'll ride it down the left side. Nick Morris will ride his Mustang, try to flip the wind light on down there a quarter of a mile away. Tree drops. 2 green lights. Send them on their way. Nick Morris has already caught Mike Fuller. Morris gets it done. Had 500ths off of the Christmas tree. Runs a 970. Eases it on down for the W. As Mike Fuller off pace, dials 1018, runs 1042. And here comes Kyle Cheltima's Thunderbird, the only two Thunderbirds on the property. This is the second one. This is the 88 for Kyle. Richard Rogers, 2014 Mustang, factory GTC, 882 right side, 982 for Kyle. Kyle skies it. He's your winner. We'll get to see the wheel stand round 2 for Kyle. Rogers grabs too much Christmas tree, and Kyle puts a 977 together. 982 was the run. Kyle takes the win light, and Richard bows out via the red light. 901, 127 miles an hour for Richard. Bobby Ratchet's 82 Firebird GTG automatic pulls into the right lane, 989, and he will be chased by Dwayne Wade's first-gen Camaro, the C automatic out of Rochester, Indiana, 918 for Dwayne Wade. Major Magic's Pizza on the right for Bobby Rashid. Bobby looking pretty sporty on the tree. Can he get the win light? No, Dwayne Wade grabs the win. Rashid was holding 6 on the Christmas tree, a little over 600s, and breaks out by 3, grabbing too much finish line, and Dwayne Wade takes the win. He is 4 above the dial for the W. Here's Caleb McFarland for McFarland Chevrolet Super Stock F clutch car, the 2015 red Camaro. Marion Stevenson's the blue GTGA Cobalt, 953 for Marion Stevenson. This is round number 1 of Super Stock coming at us. Cobalt Camaro. Oh, mercy. Well, Marion Stevenson takes this one going away. Caleb McFarland basically just could not get them tires happy with the racetrack down here. Marion Stevenson eases it on down, 971 off the 953 for the win out of the right lane, and McFarland will bow out round 1. Here is James Gibson's K Automatic, former Marine Corps Corporal. Over here on the left side, Ray Paquette will be jamming gears in the Thunderbolt, 1964 Thunderbolt, Super Stock A, 890. There goes Gibson. Here comes Paquette, and he drops a red light on the tree, and he's coasting. Ray Paquette could not wait with that Thunderbolt, trips the red light by 300ths, and Gibson was ready. 007 kept the pedal down, 1096 for the win, 119 miles an hour. All right, the Fast 4 comp shootout, Datweiler and France. Pontillo and Dupps, we'll go ahead and make that first call for you. The Fast Four Comp Shootout, brought to you by Cohen Engineering and John Holt Race Cars. Fast Four Comp Shootout, Datweiler in France, Pontillo and Dupps. We'll just go ahead and make that first call. Larry Hodge for Hodge Racing Tire out of LaPlace, Illinois, and then the Red Cavalier GTI Automatic. 989. They're dialing 100th apart as Russ Abrams out of Ypsilanti, Michigan, drops the GTD Automatic Formula Firebird into the right lane. 990. So they'll leave just as one. And if you're sitting in the grandstand with them leaving this tight, you might see who gets that starting line advantage if you're across from the starting line. I can see who got the advantage, but it's a red light for Russ Abrams in the right lane by 6 thousandths, and he drops the hood and is coasting. Larry Hodge drops off the gas pedal at the 1,000 foot. Knew he had the race wrapped up off of the Christmas tree. 997 off the 989 dial for Larry. All right, as our next pair roll in, Avery Duncan's GTD Automatic, the 1969 Nova with a black vinyl top, 976 dial, will be chased by the D-modified Tim Tichenor driven G5, 908 dial for Larry Allen Racing Engines, PK Racing Rods, KB Trailers, Vintage Trailers, Therapy Inc., Parma Laser Wash. There we go. Now we got two green lights hanging on the tree. Tichenor coming, trying to grab this wind light from Duncan, and does. Tim Tichenor breaks out the leash, goes 300ths under the dial. Avery Duncan is also under by 300ths. Margin of victory, 6 thou on the double breakout, and Tim Tichenor will bring his D-modified back, round two. PK Race Cars, Andy Cronenbitter. Andy's already been in the winner's circle in the Super Stock Shootout earlier. Victor Cagnazzi. The Copo, Factory Super Stock F, 933 right, 974 for Cronenbitter. Red light start, Cronenbitter by 9 thou, puts the wind light on Victor Cagnazzi's lane. Cagnazzi takes it on down, 928 off the 933 as a 999 113 hops up for the red lighting Andy Cronenbitter. Dave Dupps. Dave's going to be pretty busy here today. He's right here in this hot rod. He will be back in a little short while. He'll run the Fast Four Comp Shootout as he's part of the equation on the 4-car ladder in comp. 832, Dave Dupps, B modified, left side, George Wright, runner-up in our shootout, Factory GTI, the 96 orange Mustang with a 1002 dial. So we're off and gone. Dupps coming hard with the B-modified Cobalt. Not going to happen. George Wright had 200ths off the tree, runs it on down, dead 6. Ambushes Dave Dupps. Dupps dead 2. That race was won on the starting line as George Wright grabs 2 on the tree and takes the win by 15 thousandths as they both dropped them dead on their numbers. Here's Jeremy Duncan, Mr. Pest Control, the silver 69 Camaro, the D automatic, 938, Zach running, in his 91 Calais factory GTF out of Lapeer, Michigan, looking at a 960. There, showing off the front oil pans on them hot rods. Good race. Zach running. Wow. Holy smokes, Batman. That was a double breakout. Duncan, or not a double breakout, excuse me on that. Here we go. Duncan one above. Running was one above. They were dead even at the start. Margin of victory had to go out to the 10,000ths on that one, as 100,000ths. That had to go out to the 100,000ths on that one for a victory to figure that one out for Zach running. That was the tightest race of the weekend. Bill Bellinger left. Brenda Grubbs working the B automatic magic in the 69 Camaro right lane. And the win light for Brenda Grubbs over here on the right side, breaking out by 2. Bill Bellinger breaking out by 500ths as Brenda Grubbs takes the double breakout win out of the B automatic side of the racetrack. Here's Jimmy Ronzello, the varsity Ford, won the shootout earlier this weekend as Ernie Neal, our #1 qualifier, back here in the water box. Having a little trouble getting the burnout handled down there. Oh, this does not sound good for our #1 qualifier. Struggling down there in the burnout box is Ernie Neal. So 981, Ernie Neal, our #1 qualifier, the GTK Cavalier. And I will back up on that one. Here is Jimmy Ronzello for Varsity Ford American Racing Headers, 929 left side, Ernie Neal 981 in his Cavalier. Factory GTD for Jimmy Ronzello. And Ronzello's got his work cut out for him. Tired of looking at the taillights of that Cavalier, trying to get there, and does. Jimmy Ronzello gets it done as Ronzello drops a dead 2 as Ernie had 300ths on the start, breaks out down there, 973 looking for a 981. So the varsity Ford hot rod, Ronzello playing mean down there and gets the W. Here's Jeff Myers, Chris Lozen. Jeff Myers, factory Super Stock E 924, turns on the red lamp, and Chris Lozen has the win light sparkling down there on the right scoreboard. Chris looking for a 983, puts a 980 down there, had the win early on. He knew it, 133 miles an hour, as Jeff Myers breaks out after tripping the red light by 200ths. Yeah, baby. Here comes Fred Allen. 899 for the Super Stock Truck B left side. We'll be running Randy Running's 92 Achieva factory GTE. 943 for Randy. So the hard top will be off to the races, and then Fred Allen will be giving chase in that pickup truck. All right, they are on the green side, wheels up, wheels down. Fred Allen still chasing, 1,000-foot wind light. Give it to Randy Running in the Achieva. Dead on the dial with a 4. Takes out Fred Allen. Fred was breaking out by 2, trying to make up for the finish line prowess down there, and just made the wrong decision. And now we've got Travis Booth's red N automatic Mustang. 1988 version, 1213 dial, will be chased by Terry Nolan's powder blue 66 G automatic with a 991 dial. So Terry on the right. Travis going to defend the VP Racing Field side of the racetrack. And the win light for Travis Booth, as Travis had 200ths on the reaction time, is 2 above the dial. And Charlie Downing was 2 above the dial. A little bit of a pace race there, and by 14th out, Travis Booth's red Mustang will return round 2. Here's Fred Bartoli, Charlie Downing. Oh, this is a good little race right here. Charlie's factory Super Stock J ready to go. 1013 on the window. Fred Bartoli's Firehawk, the I-Automatic 997. Watch the Firehawk leave with the wheels in the air. Sets them down, trying to catch Charlie Downing. Charlie may not be caught on this one. Not going to happen. Charlie grabs 500ths on the tree and drops it 2 above, tightens it up with a 6th thou margin of victory. As a breakout route for Fred. Fred had no choice. He had to spend the reserve brakes out, trying to make up for 500ths at the start. Here is Blaine Zaskowski and Mark Nowicki. Factory GTI, the 98 Avenger out of Gaylord, Michigan. 965 will chase the 85 Mustang. Factory GTM of Blaine Zaskowski. 1045 for Blaine. First gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear. Zaskowski trying to hold the lead. Mark Nowicki closing the gap. Win light. Blaine hangs in there, gets the W. I'll tell you what, Mark did everything but turn on the win light. He's dead on with a 1, but the Christmas tree got him in trouble. That made it pretty easy for Blaine to get the win. 1048 off the 1045. Win light, Zaskowski. Here's Alex Novak and Don O'Malley out of Decatur, Illinois. The red Corvette, Don O'Malley. H Automatic, 978. They're dialing 100th apart. Alex Novak in the left lane with the 94 Cavalier, the GTF Automatic, 979 for his dial. So again, a race, if you're beside the finish line, you can see who gets the advantage off the hit. $200ths apart at the start. Win light, Don O'Malley. 3 above the dial. And Alex Novak grabs a finish line, and he breaks out by 0.06 of a second, as they were pretty close at the hit. Alex had 200ths to work with off the tree. Now Logan Bellinger with the door open, and Matt Hewitt out of Milan, Michigan in the 92 Achieva, the GTE Automatic for Parsons and Myers race engines, unlimited transmissions. 969 for Matt will chase the 1009 dial Firebird of Logan Bellinger. Red light start by 13th out for Logan Bellinger, and Matt Hewitt's Achieva will grab the invitation to the next round. Matt drops a 969 out there, runs a 971, and 3 above the number for Logan Bellinger, and his quest for the Diamond Wally ends right here in round number 1. So Todd France, the Indiana Johns team, finishing 4th in the world last year, was to race Donna Morris. Donna Morris not able to make the call. All right, Super Gas, first call to 5 and 6. My potential buy, 349J, Joey Ship. Hang around to the back of the pack of Super Gas. First call, Super Gas to 5 and 6 for round 1, please. Todd France taking care of his buy run here as Donna Morris not able to make the call. 926, 123 miles an hour. Ryan Haig will step up, and he was to run Daryl C.R. Avino. No Daryl, so Ryan will take his E-Automatic first-gen Camaro off the 965 dial in. He's placed on the board. So Ryan Haig will make it official as he crowds it on down. He's off the gate. Well, no, he didn't. Drops a dead 2 down there. And Stephanie Deacama was to run Bill Lent. Bill Lent not able to make it. And Stephanie will take the J Automatic, GTJ Automatic 70 Nova for a ride. They'll put a 10-15 out there. $10-10, 128 to make it official for Stephanie. Super Gas. 5 and 6, please. Super Gas, 5 and 6. Joey Ship, 349J. You're my potential buy, hanging to the back of the pack. Taps the front wheels a few times as Randy Ship was to run Gerald Casson. Gerald, a no-show. Down there in the Corvette, suspension issues, as everybody in the stands can see that. We're going to
us out after tripping the red light.
Boy, it's noisy around here. Oh, we're at a drag strip. And we're at a beautiful drag strip, US131 here in Martin, Michigan. And here comes the next contingent. We call this Super Stock. We call this Ryan Haig. Saw him at the hotel last night. He had his daughter with him. She is racing junior dragster, so when Ryan's not busy running his hot rod, he's got his tune-up and driving one of his kids around with a junior dragster. Is Brad Zaskowski's GTE Camaro with a 927 Iowa Chase. Ryan Haig's red and white first gen Camaro, the E-Automatic out of Memphis, Indiana. 949 for Ryan. Flying Ryan, we'll get to call him, as he left with the wheels hanging high. Wind light, Ryan Haig, dead one. 13 thousandths package right there. Zaskowski, 923, breaks out, trying to make up for 500 deficit at the start. Oh, how about this? Heads up, gang, on the starting line. Chris Lowe's and Mark Sanders, 2 GTF automatics. Heads up, first to the finish line is the winner. Heads up on the tree. Lozen on the left, Sanders on the right. Achieva versus Cobalt. Heads up. They are green. Yes, they are. Well, Chris grabbed 3 on the tree, but just too much horsepower for Mark Sanders in the right lane. 949 beats a 964, and Mark Sanders will advance into the next round. That'll be round number 3. Let's bring up Don O'Malley, the Alley Cat, and Bill Zaskowski, the Chevy 2 GTL automatic, or GTL for Bill Zaskowski. I don't think Zaskowski's own an automatic. Don O'Malley, the Corvette, he has an automatic in that Corvette. 978 for the Vet, chasing the 66 Chevy 2, 1025 for Bill Zaskowski. Look at all that chrome on these 2 vehicles. Red light start for the red Vet by 600, and that puts the wind light on Bill Zaskowski's side. Dialed in at 1025. Let's see what he's got for the win. 1024.8, good enough. Don O'Malley, 973, 131 is the last time slip he'll grab from US131 here today. And now Nick Morris and Marion Stevenson. Marion Stevenson's GTG automatic, the blue Cobalt out of Williamsport, Indiana. 946, Nick Morris, 954, the factory GTH Mustang. Nick Morris, 004 RED on the tree will park the Mustang. Marion Stevenson, a winner in an 11-inch race. Stevenson, 947 off the 946. Marion, all he had to do was create a green light in that pair, and that's a winner for Marion. All right, Tim Tichnell, the D-modified G5 body, the Larry Allen Racing Engines, Peaky Racing Rods, KB Trailer, Vintage Trailers, Therapy Inc., Parma Laser Wash, and the Custom Decal Shop. Got all of his sponsors in before he pre-staged. And Mitch Truman, now these are 2 veteran racers going at it. The 66 Corvette, Mitch Truman, H Automatic, 969, 902. Oh yeah, baby, listen to that sewing machine hum over there for Tim Tichnell. Now he's got to catch that Mitch Truman. Can he do it? He gets the wind light. 1 above, 018 on the tree as Mitch was 500ths behind, runs it on down, breaks out by 1, and Tichnell will bring the D-modified back to round 3. Here is Randy Ship and Blaine Zaskowski. Factory GTM 85 Mustang, 1041, wearing that dial as he looks to the west or to the left. And Randy Ship is his competitor with a 1033 dial, the GTH automatic Corvette. All right, pre-stage, sitting on the bulbs. Blaine's leg, let's race. Red light start for Zaskowski by 4 thousandths of a second since the Corvette of Randy Ship into round 3. Randy dials in 1033, drops it, dead 7. He is ready to go. Zaskowski is 3 above after tripping the red-eye flight by 4 thou. And here's Larry Hodge out of LaPlace, Illinois for Larry Hodge Race and Tire. Larry is another one of those fortunate ones that has one of them special Wallies from the U.S. Nationals back a couple of years ago. And Wayne Wade in the 69 Camaro, the C Automatic, with a 914 dial, will be chasing the Red Cavalier of Larry Hodge. Blink, blink, blink. There goes Larry, and a red light pops up for Wayne Wade. His day is done. Self-inflicted by 015 as the red light shines for Dwayne Wade. Larry Hodge, 981 off a 980 dial after a 009 start. Larry, we'll see round 3. Here's Todd France. Number 4, had an outstanding year in a very competitive super stock category here in the NHRA. Kyle Jeltema, Thunderbird, the second Thunderbird on the property. Carl Dresbach has the other one. This is the 88 Thunderbird from Jenison, Michigan, 974 left side. Todd France, 906. The GTC automatic G5 will chase the Thunderbird. Green light number 1, green light number 2. Todd France hanging them high. Now he is honing in for the win, striking like a cobra at the finish line. Todd France gets the job done. 909 off the 906 as a breakout hops up for Kyle by 300ths. And Todd France will join the fewer group next round. Here's Stephanie Dekema and George Wright. Stephanie's GTJ automatic. Both of these have been in finals earlier in the week in our various super stock shootouts. George Wright was the runner-up. Stephanie, I believe, got the win light in the combo race. Stephanie, winner, 10:04 on the breakout by 2. George breaks out by 400ths on the double breakout affair there. And Stephanie Dekema will carry on. Here's Brenda Grubbs, Matt Hewitt. That's Bill walking in behind the car. Brenda Grubbs is B automatic, 931 dial. Will chase Matt Hewitt's Achieva GTE automatic for unlimited transmission. Parson and Myers race engines, 964 for Matt. I have been. All right, the black vinyl top. Remember those days. Hard to keep them clean. Red light start Matt Hewitt by 15 thou will send Brenda Grubbs' Camaro onto the winning side. 929 off the 931. Brenda's your winner out of the left lane. Matt Hewitt trips the red light and runs it on down 982 at 117 miles an hour. Here's James Gibson for International Brotherhood Electrical Workers Local 668 for Ray Wire. He's a former Marine Corps corporal. And Victor Cagnazzi. This will be fun. 925 on the right for Victor, 1092 for Gibson. Factory Super Stock F for Victor Cagnazzi. GM Parts now racing. Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, James Gibson did what he needed to do. He was 006 up front, but it ended up being a double breakout. Gibson went under by 2. Cagnazzi went under by 300ths, creating a margin of victory of only 200ths, and Gibson will take the K automatic into round 3. Here's the varsity Ford hot rod, Charlie Downing at the wheel. The factory Super Stock J with a 1008 dial will be chased by the man in the right lane, Randy Running, factory GTE Achieva 939. Oh boy, that was a beautiful wheels up launch for Randy Running. Sets it down like a 747. He's in the race to try to get it done. And he does. Randy is one above his dial as Charlie Downing is one above. That race was pretty tight. It was tight on the reaction time. The closest race of the day, check this out, 6/10 thousandths. Is this racing at its finest or what? That was tight. That was a toss-up. 6/10 thou as Randy Running drops a win light. Travis Booth, Zach Running. Zach Running's got the Calais 955 chasing Travis Booth's 1204. This will be fun. What is that? About 2.5 seconds? 3.5. I'll tell you what, Zach did a great job of waiting on the tree. There's a shot for both of them on this one. And your winner, oh my goodness, one above for Zach. Travis drops at one above. What is going on? How about 710 thou on this one? Woo-hoo. I'll tell you what, the finish line action has got to be hot down there. Another one that's gonna, well, this will be a single, Jimmy Ronzello. We are missing 5 Super Gas cars. We'd love to have you. Varsity 4, Jimmy Ronzello. He won our Super Stock shootout combo race the other day for American Racing Headers. Factory GTD, the Mustang drops a 9 flat on the scoreboard. Let's see if he can drop another one down there. Well, 925 was out of the gas at the 1,000 foot, 133 miles an hour. And that'll do it. Round number 2 of Super Stock.
was out of the gas.
Sunday at US131, going into third round of Super Stock. We're in the lanes. Take a look here.
All right, Bob backing up with the door open. 7 of those beautiful hot rods coming out of Bob's program shop. Here comes Tim Herman out of Morris, Illinois.
My second job.
In the Division 3 top sportsman category, picked up a win at Louis Oil IRP in the 53 Bob Vandell. You'll have that 55 on the fly down the right side.
Well, there's our winner of our last person standing here in Super Stock as Marion Stevenson pulls into the GTG automatic side with that blue Cobalt 949 dial. Will chase Bill Zaskowski's Chevy 2, the GTL Hot Rod 1026 for Bill. All right, Bill Zaskowski puts the win light on. How about drops it dead on with the deuce, taking the win. Marion Stevenson grabs just 100th too much down there and pulls under the 949, and Bill Zaskowski will take another trip down to the track here a little later on. Jimmy Ronzello, the Varsity Ford American Racing Headers Factory GTD 929 on the glass left side, will be chased by the demodified 903 Tim Tichnell. And Tim Tichnell's on that red-eye flight northbound out of the right lane by 200ths. Jimmy Ronzello takes the Varsity Ford Hot Rod another round, 933 off the 929 for the win for Jimmy Ronzello in his yellow Varsity Ford car. Super Cop, need you to the lanes, please. Super Cop to the lanes. Randy Ship, the GTH Automatic 1034. Brenda Grubbs will be chasing in the Camaro. Last call for stock. Super Comp, we need you. First call. And Brandy Ship drops a red light on the VP Fuel side by 7th thou. Wind light, Brenda Grubbs. Brenda Grubbs, 928 off the 927, kept it clean and green. That was all that was necessary on that pair to turn on a wind light. Here comes the PK race cars. Mark would like to thank his great wife, Diane, the crew chief and owner. Mark Sanders gets to do the fun job driving the GTF automatic with a 966 dial left side. Stephanie Dikema in the Nova, 10:05. Oh my. Wind light, Mark Sanders out of the left lane. Stephanie Dikema, I'll give it a 10 on the wheel stand, but the red light start ruined Stephanie's weekend. Runs it on down 10:24, 962. Mark Sanders will advance into the next round. Super Comp, need you to the lanes, please. Here's James Gibson's for International Brotherhood Electrical Workers, 668 for Ray Wire. And Ryan Hagan, the red and white 67 Camaro, the E automatic, 949 for Ryan, 1091 for Gibson's K automatic. Here comes the lights. There goes Gibson. And Ryan Haig drops a red light in the bank. 010 RED on the tree for Ryan, 67 Camaro wind light Gibson. 1091 drops it dead zero. Gibson is ready to win a Wally. He's got a little more work to do. So Randy was to run Zach running. Zach is a no-show. Randy running, Zachiva, factory GTE, will go solo with a 937. Nice looking wheels up launch, 008 red eye flight, but that doesn't matter on a buy run. He's got the W. He's got the wind light. 939 off the 937 for running as our next pair roll in. The Indiana Johns, Todd France driven G5. Right lane, 907 to chase Larry Hodge's red Cavalier, the GTI automatic. 981 on the red machine, Larry at the wheel. And Todd finishing fourth in the world last year in Super Stock. 907 in the Indiana Johns G5. All righty, Larry Hodge taking the win. He breaks out the least. His 980 off the 981 allows him to advance as Todd France put out a 907 to run, runs a 905. That puts him 2 hundredths under the dial on the double breakout.
931 drops it dead 0. Gibson is ready to win a Wally. Got a little more work to do. So Randy was to run Zach running. Zach is a no-show. Randy running Achieva, factory GTE, will go solo for the 937. Taking the win.
All right, Brenda Grubbs is just gonna basically take the tree, I do believe, the B automatic with the by run. All right, that's all that's necessary to make that official. All right, again, competition eliminator. They've asked you back to the lanes. Here is Bill Zaskowski as we carry on with Super Stock. Larry Hodge for Larry Hodge Racing Tire. 980 on the GTI automatic Red Cavalier for Larry Hodge. Bill Zaskowski, 1025. Second call for comp. VP Fuels Top Sportsman. If you'd bring yours back to the lanes, that'd be great. We're going to drop these into the semifinals after this round of Super Stock. We are getting down to the nitty-gritty as the rounds are coming quicker for all of our classes. Red light start for the Red Cavalier of Larry Hodge. That'll end his day by 5 thousandths. On the wrong side of the tree, Bill Zaskowski will go to the semis. 10-24-9 off the 10-25. And Bill Zaskowski will move into the next round, the semifinals. All right, Mark Sanders, GTF Automatic Cobalt, 964 for PK Race Cars. And here is Randy Runnings Achieva, Factory GTE, 939, his dial. So Randy will be doing the chasing. You'll get tired of looking at those round tail lights on that Cobalt. Pretty nice wheel stand for Randy Running. Can he get the wind light? Randy gave up 100th at the start, and the wind light for Mark Sanders drops it dead one, holding 100th on the Christmas tree. Randy Running 940, did nothing wrong off the 939. Mark just did it just a tad better. Margin of victory 200ths as James Gibson for Ray Wire. International Brotherhood Electrical Workers Local 668, K Automatic 1092, Jimmy Ronzello, the Varsity Ford Yeller Mustang 929 will chase the Dart Sport. Ronzello's got a hill to climb, and that hill is going to drop a wind light. Ronzello gets it done as a breakout shows up for Gibson. 1088 off the 1092. Actually, Gibson had the tree. 072 to shows up for Gibson. 1088 off the 1092. Actually, Gibson had the tree. 072 to Ronzello's 063. Ronzello drops it dead 6. Watch. Forget winners and runner-ups. The contingency parade, I believe Will's in the, by the Division 3 trailer. Tell you what, them tires are warm on the PK race car, or the PK race cars. Mark Sanders driven Cobalt, GTF automatic. B automatic, Brenda and Bill Grubbs. Bill slams the door and says, Brenda, it's up to you to get us to that final. Brenda Grubbs, 927, the B automatic, the red 69 Camaro with the black vinyl top. Mark Sanders, PK race cars. Mark and Diane trying to get to the final with the GTF automatic Cobalt. 962 right side. Brenda will chase out of the left side. Who's going to the final? Mark will be the last to go in. He'll be the first to leave. 1 green light, 2 green light. Brenda Grubbs on the chase. Somebody's got 300s to work with. That's your winner. Sanders, 962. Dead on with an O with an 031 start. Brenda's 062 start ends at the finish line with a 928, looking for a 927. And Mark Sanders will go to the final of Super Stock to race the winner of these two back in the water box. They won't race in the water box. We could do that, I guess. Start them in the water box and just go right on down to the quarter mile, see who wins. That don't sound pretty. It's different. Jimmy Ronzello, Bill Zaskowski. So the varsity Ford American Racing Headers Mustang out of Carlton, Michigan, Jimmy Ronzello, 929. We'll be chasing the chrome bumpered 66 Chevy 2 of Bill Zaskowski, 1024 on the glass for Bill. GTL Chevy 2. Ronzello draws first blood on the pre-stage bulb. Here comes Zaskowski. They'll take a deep breath, tighten the belts. Jimmy says, let's race. Come on, Bill. Come on, Bill. There we go. Green light, green light. Varsity Ford, tired of looking at the chrome bumper. Wants to see the side-by-side view of that car, and Jimmy Ronzello drops a dead 8, takes the win. Zaskowski, 9 thou too quick. 10:23.1 off the 10:24 puts. Ronzello drops a dead 8, takes the win. Zaskowski.
All right, this is the second final for Jimmy this week. He's going to race Mark Sanders here in a little bit.
JB Strasweg, I see Big Al Peevler back there ready to go. And then Super Comp right behind him as we will pull up Top Dragster here in just a moment. And Mark Sanders in the GTA F Automatic Cobalt drives into the right lane with the PK race car team. Mark and Diane trying to get out of here with a Wally. Jimmy Ronzello with the Varsity Ford. He's already been in the winner's circle on the Stock Super Stock Combo Shootout for American Racing Headers and Varsity Ford. Jimmy Ronzello, 929, will chase Mark Sanders, 961 Cobalt for the Wally. And they are green. Jimmy Ronzello's got some work to do as Mark Sanders is going to try to hang on to that win light. Can he get it done? He does. Mark Sanders drops it dead 7, holding 200ths from Jimmy Ronzello. Ronzello breaks out down there. Ronzello dials 929 and breaks out with a 927. And Mark Sanders will get the Wally and take it back to him. More cars, more stars, more Diamond Wallies to hand out. Top Dragster, JB Strasweg, and see Big Al Peevler